Hello, and welcome to the Find Creative Expression podcast, conversations about art and creativity. I'm your host, Sarah Crawford, author, playwright, musician, basically obsessed with art. You can find more information at findcreativeexpression.com. Let's get rolling. Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 30 of the Find Creative Expression podcast. Coming up, I have an interview with musician Shawn Pasley of the band Nobody's Darlings. Shawn is a great guy and a great songwriter, so I was really excited to get to chat with him, so definitely stay around for that. Also, I just wanted to invite everyone to come join us in the Find Creative Expression Facebook group. We talk about what we're working on, what music or books or TV shows we're really into. And, I'm hoping as the group grows, it can be a place where artists find people to collaborate with or ask for advice or talk about creative process or share their work with each other. Just a place where we can all support each other as artists and creatives. So I will link to the group on findcreativeexpression.com, and everyone is invited to join. So definitely come chat with us. So for anyone who's new to the podcast, the main part of the episode is the interview with an artist or creative person about their journey with music or writing or creativity or art of whatever kind. But then I always start out with an intro where I talk about my own creative journey and what art I'm really into. And then I usually have some kind of thought or tip about creativity. So I'm still working on my novel. The first half of November was really great for the novel because I was participating in National Novel Writing Month, which caused me to get, a lot of new words in my draft. But then I got to the point in my process where I needed to really do some revision and organizational stuff. So it wasn't really productive for me to be focusing on word count anymore, but I am still working on it every day. I started using the program Scrivener again, which I highly recommend to writers. If you're working on a play or a screenplay, it does all the formatting for you. It allows you to see a kind of outline of whatever project you're working on as you're working on it. You can have research and character profiles all in one place. And, it's just a lot easier to move scenes and chapters around. So, I actually went through all of my main characters and found images from Pinterest of people who looked like the characters, which I don't always do when I'm drafting, but it's really super helpful and it really helps me to get in the right, mindset. So the novel is slow going, but I am working on it. So I'm hoping that I'll finish the novel at some point in 2022. And I think since this is just adult fiction and not some sort of genre like sci-fi or fantasy, I'm going to try to query agents and go the traditional publishing route. But, I'm not trying to think about all of that when I'm still working on the first draft. What have I been into lately? Over the past month, I have seen 2 plays at the Essential Theater Festival. Peter Hardy, who I interviewed in episode 24, did a great job putting on the festival, as he does every year. But, of course, last year there wasn't one, so it was great for it to be back. The plays were the co-winners of the Essential Theater Playwriting Contest, which is just for Georgia playwrights. And they were 2 very different plays called Calming the Man and Raising the Dead. I think Raising the Dead probably resonated with me a little more than Calming the Man, but, they were both fascinating and super well written, and mostly I was just so excited to be back seeing live theater again. And then last weekend, I went to Terminal West to see the band Wolf Alice. It was the last show of their tour, and it was the first show I've gone to since December of 2019. So 2 years is definitely the longest amount of time I've gone without seeing live music. So I would have been excited to see any band, but Wolf Alice put on an amazing show. Their album Blue Weekend is definitely my favorite album of 2021. They played every song I wanted to hear, and it was just a really, really great show. Plus, there seemed to be some extra excitement because you could tell they were all just super excited to be playing, and everyone was really happy to be there, and it was just all around awesome. I also recently watched the Netflix movie Tick, Tick, Boom, which is based on the autobiographical play written by Jonathan Larson before he wrote Rent. The film was directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton, and Andrew Garfield played Jonathan Larson, who was phenomenal. But, I thought the film just really, really captured the kind of conflict that so many of us go through as artists, when we're trying to get our work out there and make it. It's like, do I keep going with this? Do I just give up and get a job? I mean, I've kind of learned over the past year that you can be creative and create art and have a job, like a day job, at the same time. Maybe not if you want to actually have your plays on Broadway. Like, maybe you probably need to go to New York and live in a shoebox apartment. But anyway, the film is just really, really great. So if you like musicals at all, I would definitely suggest watching it. So I talked about this in my interview with Shawn, as you'll hear later, but now that I'm going to bigger shows again, I'm really excited to start going back out to places like the Earl or a Smithsonian Bar and seeing, smaller bands, more local bands who are just starting to develop more of a following. And I would encourage anyone listening to this, if you feel comfortable going out to events again, don't just wait for huge national bands playing at like Phillips Arena or that big Broadway musical going to the Fox Theater or, the big venues wherever you live. I mean, going to see all of that stuff is great and you absolutely should. But I would also encourage you to go see some local bands, some art from local artists at smaller galleries, some plays written by playwrights in your community, the local film festival, whatever it is. I think it's so important to support all kinds of artists, but especially the ones who don't quite have as big of a following yet. They are often doing really interesting things. And, the holidays are coming up and everyone's talking about all these supply chain issues. So why not get unique gifts for people? You could give someone a painting that reminds you of them, or an album from a band they've never heard of that you think they would really like, or take them to see a play. The holidays are a great opportunity to support local artists. And finally, today is Thanksgiving for us Americans. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you how grateful I am for everyone who's listening to the podcast and all of the great artists and creatives who have come on and given their time to chat with me about their work and creative process. To be in a world that's producing live theater and live music again, to have, the abilities and tools to create my own work. There really is just a lot to be grateful for. I mean, of course, I'm also grateful for my family and friends and boyfriend and my cat and everything else in my life. But specifically as an artist and a lover of the arts, there is a lot to be thankful for. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the interview. Hey everyone, I'm here with Shawn Pasley. Shawn is a singer-songwriter, guitarist, and founding member of Nobody's Darlings, an alternative rock band that blends influences from the 90s with the pop rock hits of today. Since 2009, Nobody's Darlings has supported acts like The Verve Pipe, Peter, Bjorn, and John, and Drivin' and Cryin'. Welcome, Shawn.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining me for episode 30 of the
Awesome.
Find Creative Expression podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. I always love just chatting it up with different artists about art. It's it's interesting. It's like some of the same questions, but everybody has a different creative process.
Perspective is an amazing thing. Like you have two people watching the exact same thing and get completely opposite, reactions from them. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. So how did you get into playing music?
I have to say my parents, they were always into music growing up. And my dad played in bands, when he was a kid growing up. He was a drummer in a band, and he played bass in some his friends' bands and whatnot. And the only thing he had left instrument wise was this late 60s Univox bass. It looked like a 335 guitar, but it was a bass. And on special nights when we were little kids, we had to pull it out and play around with it, So
yeah,
that was kind of my thing. Like, it was so special and so awesome, and I just wanted to do it. And so when I got to be fifth grade, I started playing saxophone, and I thought my entire career, I was going to high school career, middle school, I was going to be a great saxophone player, and into college, which I was very good. But it wasn't going to take me where I wanted it to go.
Right. Do you still play saxophone?
I wish I did. I had a pretty negative experience towards the end of my college degree. And my college roommate at the time, he played drums and guitar in a metal band. He's also a saxophone major. Mm-hmm. But I was like, oh, I'll just learn this too. That's kind of cool. But I'll never be a guitar player because I'm a saxophone player, And look where I am now. But I ended up getting really frustrated with my degree and the people involved in it. And I sold my horns and bought guitars.
Oh, wow.
Here I am today. I am looking for some other horns. I'm very, very particular about when it comes to that. So when the right one comes, I'm going to snatch him up and start playing again. I had somebody give me a horn the other day. I was running Sound and Smiths, and he had a baritone, and we talked about I love Barry sax. And he's like, you can play if you want to. And I tried to play it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was first year in the state, 95, but I can't even make a sound out of it. Like, oh my gosh, this is embarrassing, So
yeah. I used to play clarinet, but like I haven't even tried to play clarinet in like years. I wonder if I could even do it. Probably not.
I think I come back to you pretty quick. Like I said, I think a couple hours on it, I can get back, back to normal. But
yeah.
You're just talking crap. I need to get another horn.
Exactly. Well, and I'm sure it helps. It helps to learn one instrument. Like later when you're trying to learn other instruments. I mean, it's kind of using the same part of your brain, I guess.
That's very true. It's very true.
So who are some of your biggest musical influences?
I guess of my adult years or teenage years, you can definitely hear a lot of RLDPs in my stuff. Huge fan of them. People are often really shocked to find out that the band Bare Naked Ladies was the whole reason I even started playing guitar. I love them. I hate to say it, I get my own personal opinion. I'll always listen to them, but their newer records they're a lot older, so they're not what they used to be for me. So I still listen to the first like 5 or 6 records, and they have things here and there throughout their new careers is good. But anyway, what I loved about them is they were silly, but who uses diminished chords in pop music? It's right. They're actually very technical and very, knew what they're doing,
Yeah.
Under the surface. And then REPs was kind of like the harder edge of stuff when I was growing up, And of course, I love Alice in Chains. That's one of my staple bands,
Yeah.
But we're not quite as heavy as they are. But I love them. And then, even getting on up to the early 2000s, like Billy Talent. All my favorite bands are Canadian, apparently. I don't know, but like Billy Talent's great. I'm kind of all over the spectrum as far as like genre goes. I like what I like.
Yeah.
Something,
No, I totally get that. Like, I like a lot of different kind of stuff too. Well, I mean, like I definitely have like my favorites of like
Sure, of course.
pretty much just, I like a lot of like mellow stuff these days.
Right. I don't know. I still have a hard time with ballads. Like I have to come back and listen to them. I'm still kind of like keep my interests, ADHD,
Yeah. I mean, I get that, So like what would you say your songwriting process is like? Like, do you always start with lyrics or melody, or is it kind of different every song?
It's not different every song, but I'm a musician first. I mean, not that a singer is a musician, but I'm an instrumentalist first and vocalist second, I guess. So I didn't always sing. I just started singing out of necessity, and it's been a job for me. But anyway, I always write the song on guitar. I write a skeleton with a skeleton guitar part. Like these are the chords in an order, this is all blah, and then I'll write the lyrics and the melody as I go. And this is why it takes me months to write songs. And it shouldn't, it can't. I have to, I'm still, even at this age, trying to speed up my process and just churn out some songs. I've been writing one for 6 months now, but all I have left is a bridge. I just cannot get it.
Yeah.
It's just like, in one day, it'll just pop in my head. And oh, that's done.
Well, I mean, I think that's okay. I mean, I think everybody, like, it takes everyone a different, amount of time, because I mean, like, I know a lot of like novelists, for example, that can just like churn out, like 4 novels a year, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I should write faster, but like, that's not really my process. So like, you can't force yourself to, produce more. That's not like the way your brain works,
Exactly. But there also is, I shouldn't take 5 years between records either, so.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I get distracted easy, but, and just playing, and next thing you know, you've been playing for 4 years, like, oh man, I got to write something,
Yeah.
It just goes by pretty quick, especially these days in this formula, like, you can't, in an original band, you can't play every weekend, I think we're going back to our formula of like 4 times a year in town. And that's what we had the most, you get to have the most draw, especially these days. It's so weird and up in the air, and there's a lot of fake stuff going on. And, people with, in my air quotes, sold out shows, making other people feel bad about themselves. Just, 25 people showed up to their show, and like everybody's only has 25 people showing up to their show. So right now, so and that that's a bizarre thing to me. But when we were playing a bunch, it took up all the time, and I wasn't able to sit down and play guitar like I used to. Just sit on the couch and or there's my band. Right. Oh, this is a new song. Cool. All right.
That's funny that you say you're a vocalist, like you became one out of necessity at first, because I feel like it was the opposite with me. Like I started out as a singer and a songwriter, and I kind of just learned how to play guitar, like so I could do that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I hate my speaking voice, and I'm so I kind of mumble and talk fast, but so I never thought I would be a singer, by any means, And it took me a minute to learn how to do it, and I mean, I'll always struggle, not struggle, but I'll always fight bad habits. I just I have friends who were born singing like a lark out of the womb, and I'm not that kind of person. I have an interesting, weird voice, which is cool, and I have to figure out where that fits.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, some of my favorite singers are like people with quote unquote, weird voices like Billy Corgan or Tom York,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great. I'm glad I'm part of that. But then again, it's also the human aspect of it, the ego or whatever. Like there's a bartender at my work who was in a huge band, and he took some time off from music and bartending, and now he's getting ready to be huge again, I think. Pretty sure he's signed with a big label and all this stuff. But he has an amazingly typical voice. It's amazing and it's awesome, and he can just sing anything. So I like my little weird eclectic voice, but it's also I don't get the attention that he gets. So
right.
And not out of normal people. So it's hard. It's hard. That kind of thing is hard about having a unique style, because like the 90s is like, yeah, man, that's awesome, and now it seems to be more like everyone sounds exactly the same.
I get that is kind of true. I mean, not so much like the kind of underground like indie bands, but like I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there was a benefit thing, like that, like the one in Britain that did all the Foo Fighters that song. They all did it on like Biffy Clyro and everything. They did it on the on Zoom, and they put it in a big square. But there was one for pop singers too, and like the first 6 female vocalists, I could have closed my eyes and thought they were the same person. Like they not only did they have the same inflection, but they just really turn their syllables. I mean, it's exactly there's a definite genre style right now. People say words a certain way, they do things a certain way, and everyone does it. And that's the thing. That's something I missed from like the 90s and even early 2000s, where everybody was, you had Lilith Fair and Lollapalooza. Like, there were so many different options, and everyone was cool. So I missed that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I do feel like there are like 7 singers that sound like Adam Levine. I swear, like I think everyone is Adam Levine.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, and that will work for you for a minute, but to me, it doesn't have the longevity. Like cool, this is what's hot now. But who are you?
Yeah, exactly. So, I found that most like writers or musicians have themes that they always seem to return to. So I was wondering, do you have any like themes that you kind of come back to when writing new songs?
As far as subject goes, or? Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I used to always write about me or my experiences or my stories. And Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20 says, man, the worst thing ever happened to a musician is he gets married and becomes happy. Or content, because, that's the end of your career right there.
Yeah.
So I've actually not stopped writing about myself, but I've just started, I don't know, I don't have a specific subject in mind. I'm just writing and the words are coming to me, and it ends up being a story. Like I've never, not controlling, but I've always had control of my own. I want people to know what the song's about, but also write it in metaphor, which is, okay. but so I've been kind of just writing and just whatever comes out. So, and it's worked pretty well. And then I've been able to go back and be like, oh yeah, okay, I see what it's about. I'm really into this TV show right now. Like I had when I was back into Firefly so much. That was after it canceled. I found it my favorite TV show. I wrote a song about the show in a way, I didn't realize what I was writing about until afterwards. Like, oh, cool. So I kind of been doing that. I kind of just let my brain go on automatic, just kind of see where it comes out in the end. I try to figure out my own.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of cool, because you can kind of like learn new things about yourself, or do things that you wouldn't expect yourself to say. I don't know.
No, well, because when you're being too controlling about the story, that's what it takes 2 years to write a song. I wanted to exactly this. I'm not getting it right. Blah blah blah. And I worry about my word usage. Then I hear most of the songs on the radio. I'm like, oh, I must have worried about this.
Yeah.
So I get too into it, too deep into it. Which is also why I feel like you should never record your own material. And that's something else. But also another theme when it comes to songwriting, my music. I realized the other day I was talking to the guy recorded my record, Reese Bekovich. I was talking to him. I'm like, man, I realized I went back and I remember there's one song you can go to from like 97, 98 that is the formula for all of my music. It's one song that hit me, and it's a pop rock song, and and that's my go to. That's why everything starts. It's like intro, verse.
What song is it?
It's "We Are" by Vertical Horizon.
Oh yeah, I know that song.
Great song. It's the first time that the bass was ever detached from the song. Like it had its own little part, completely separate, and everything was doing its own things. It was like intro, verse, chorus, intro again, a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, out. and that just they form into my
Yeah.
songs. I'm trying to change it up a little bit, but but that's my go-to if I let myself go automatic, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's kind of cool, when you kind of stop like trying to control everything and just kind of let it flow,
Sure, scary as an artist,
Oh
scary.
yeah, definitely it definitely is. Because like you have the tendency to want to try to control everything, but like,
Yeah.
or at least I do sometimes.
Me too. Well, like I said, I tell my band I'm not controlling about what you play, but I want it to sound a certain way,
Yeah, or I get like really perfectionist, like about like my writing, and I'll just like obsess over like every little word for, like if somebody didn't like make me end something, I would just work on it forever, I think.
Right.
So, okay, so in 2009, you started Nobody's Darlings,
Yep.
and you're still putting out music and performing. So how has the group changed and evolved over that time?
Well, I have always struggled with members. I mean, it's hard finding. Let's say, I mean, I was 2009. How old was I? I do math, but anyway, in your 30s, like I was early 30s time. Even then, it's hard to find people who want to sit in a van with you and tour around the country, playing shows at home is super fun. You get to go home at the end of the night.
Yeah.
It's super hard, getting people to want to play your own music and invest in the band, not just show up and get paid and leave.
Yeah.
You're actually investing in your time and your own money in it. So, I mean, the lineup has changed so many times, but we were pretty stable for about the first 5, 6 years, 7 years, and then it started to turn over, and there's been some duds, definite duds in there, but there've been more great people that I've got to play with, and they're not. And as frustrating as it is having it turn over so much, I cherish most of the time with most of the people, that we played.
Yeah.
We've had great experience and great times, but and we actually have, knock on wood, pretty solid lineup right now. So
yeah.
And so, but that's what's changed a lot, really. And
have you found that like playing with different people like has affected your songwriting at all?
No, actually, I don't even take that into account at all. I probably should, but I don't. And I mean, like I said, as positive as everything is, it also has some negative effects. Like I love harmonies, but I don't let people sing harmonies a lot because, well, what if they leave and then it's gone?
Right.
How can I let you influence the song? And if you leave, I just can't play the song anymore, because the part's not there, or somebody else can't do the part. It comes in later, So I'm real weird about that. I'm loosening up again. We're seeing this recording we're doing right now. Seeing and letting people in at this point,
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally get that. I mean, when I was in bands, like in my 20s, I mean, it was hard enough then to like keep a band together. So, I mean, I think it's super impressive that you've been keeping the band together for like as long as you have. I think it's awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's I mean, especially over the last couple of years, I've been like, is it over? Is this over? Is this over? But it'll never be over. So I've already ruined my credit in my life, so I might as well keep going.
Exactly. I love it. It's great. So you've been performing at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, like since 2010.
Yep.
So how has your experience of that festival kind of evolved over the past decade, or has it?
Yeah. I had the most fun going out there. I mean, it's people there to see music. Like it literally revitalizes my, is this still working? Is this worth it? Are we still doing something? Every year, because there are hordes and hordes of people at noon on a Wednesday in the streets there to see bands and music.
Yeah.
And they're not people play covers and tributes, but music that we all wrote and perform. And that's something huge for me. It still is that, okay, there's still a chance. There's still people out there,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's awesome. You know, I've never been to South by Southwest, but I've always wanted to go.
Well, it has changed quite a bit over the last 4 years, I guess. Spring break for the colleges were always in the same week, and they stopped doing it because of the crowds, and because the crowds were so big that they couldn't be controlled, and some other negative elements had moved in. People with less than awesome intentions, had started to really infiltrate the festival and whatnot. And that last weekend, it usually gets out of hand. The last few years, it's been out of hand bad. So they moved the spring break to the week after, and last couple of years it was pretty dead. Actually, there wasn't like hardly any people there at all. So it was really disappointing. And I don't even know if it's coming back. To be honest with you.
Oh, really? So,
yeah,
so there's no like word about 2022.
I've heard nothing about it.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And usually there are two different factions when it comes to South by Southwest. Like there's the corporate faction, which is not even where it started. It wasn't a corporate festival. It was a indie festival, and everybody, you would go and you try to get signed, and there was a chance of that. And now it's just two opposite things. It's a corporate showcase, a corporate, when you see Kanye West, or whoever, or whoever, and then you have four bars down, Bob's band from Arkansas. I don't know, playing there, and that's the beauty of it. But also, it's very separate. Like you have unofficial South by, and the official is the corporate side, unofficial. We always did unofficial.
Yeah.
We had a great time with some great people doing that stuff.
Yeah. I used to know like a ton of musicians who went out there, and I got the feeling they all did unofficial stuff. So I feel like that was like kind of where it was at,
No, for sure, absolutely. I mean, it wasn't like it was packed one place and no one ever. It was full everywhere. That's what I loved about it. And like you said, it's always, I guess it's run its course in a way, and it needs to be rebuilt. I guess that happens to everything, really.
Yeah,
because it got a little far away from its roots, which is, showcasing local hardworking bands or that kind of thing, and not.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, like how venues and festivals and events, like change kind of like post-pandemic, because I do feel like there's been like kind of a shift with most people.
I feel like the corporate events are going on just fine, and I kind of feel like us indie people are stabbing ourselves in the chest, a little bit right now by being some kind of hero per se. Take that the wrong way. Everybody do what they got to do, but these corporate events are leaving us behind.
Right.
I don't want. I'm 45. I'm not supposed to tell your age anymore. So but
I don't believe in that.
Well, I know you don't, but record labels do. But
oh yeah.
But there was a time during the pandemic I didn't know if it was coming back in my lifetime. Like as far as my viable lifetime goes, like I said, I'll always play, always. But at 75 years old, who's going to want to sign? Who knows?
Well, you never know. You could be the first one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got a long time for that, but that's the kind of stuff that pops in my head or popped in my head during the pandemic and whatnot. So I kind of feel like I'm hoping that we can all get together rather than fighting with each other in the indie scene.
Yeah.
And kind of make this push. Because I feel like the whole pop movement, gosh, it's a tangent. Sorry. And I ran Sound to Smith for a lady a couple weeks ago. She's a country artist, and she wrote a bunch of big songs, and she was on tour for herself. And I'm pretty damn sure that she has never, ever toured a bar circuit in her life.
Oh, really?
Yep. She had her own front of house guy set everything up for her. Hey, I don't know how to pick. I got you. I don't know how my tuner works.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. The big corporate world is leaving us behind. I don't feel like I feel like they no longer farm from working bands. I feel like they just make their own now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I feel like they, it's kind of easier for them to control people that are just like their own people that they kind of manufacture, and you know.
absolutely.
Yeah, but it's sad. I was thinking about venues like Drunken Unicorn or kind of like smaller places like that, and I'm wondering how many of those venues will like make it or like be able to kind of come back.
Well, I'll be honest with you. The people who are coming out who are actually selling out shows are the kids, like 21-year-olds, 18-year-olds. They're all going to shows. They don't care. I just the middle-aged bands, I guess people aren't coming out anymore. Let's see sold out shows. This and that, but the bands have been at it for like 10 years. We're all going. I don't care what you say. I run sound for your shows. And I do my own, admitting my own. We had a show for our birthday, and it actually turned out pretty well. But we used to do lots and lots of people, lots of people.
Yeah.
And for those people after the pandemic, and even maybe at their age, where I'll come out and see you, sure. But now it's like that's just a pretty big option, and they've done that. You know what I mean? So it's just harder. It's harder to get people out these days, and who knows? Who knows where it's going to end up? But hopefully, it'll end up back where it was or better.
Yeah. I mean, I have I have faith because like I went to my first like show since COVID started over this past weekend at Terminal West. And like I was just so excited to be like seeing live music, and I don't know. I think there was just so many people there that I feel like felt the same way. And I mean, I feel like people are gonna be excited to go back to shows, I think.
For sure. But then again, you went to go see a very established large band.
Well, I mean,
people aren't going
really, but I don't know though. Like I went to see Wolf Alice, but like
they're awesome. They're awesome. I know of them.
Yeah, I know you know of them, but like, how many people know of them in like the mainstream? Like probably not that many.
Sure. But, I used to see bands like places like Star Bar and even Smith's is a 300-seat room, or 529, which seats 150 people, or the Earl even, which is 275. Those are the venues that need people to show up. Those are the grassroots places, and without the root of the tree, I mean, the tree dies. So,
well, now that I feel like I've ventured out to Terminal West again, I probably will feel like a little better about like going to the Earl or
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like
I hope it trickles down,
Yeah, I think it's gonna just take some time for people to like get back into, that actually going out.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So okay, so tell us about like one of your favorite performances with Nobody's Darlings.
Well, I was thinking that I love saying this, that I have so many. I have so many, and it was awesome. I have to go through the filters in my head of like, okay, which era, blah blah blah. But I think one of the most amazing feeling shows was this past July at the Masquerade, and we actually sold a bunch of tickets, and only 3 people showed up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was every band. Like it was fresh out of the the thing. So people didn't know if they're coming out or not. But we sold out. So we got the credit for it. And right now, Masquerade is a little scary to a lot of people. Just some people. I don't understand it. I was in Georgia State, like a block away from there, so I've always been downtown my life. People are kind of scared of it. But anyway, getting back on the stage and sound checking and hearing the kick drum again, and huge subs and the power of my guitar amp on stage. That was just like, okay, this will never be over. Even though it wasn't the most successful show, it was one of my favorite shows because the feeling was back.
Yeah. And then when you miss something for so long and you get it back, it's kind of
especially like I said, I didn't know if it was coming back.
Exactly.
I didn't know if it in my life, again, while I'm still relevant, I didn't know if it was 10 years from now. Something I've learned is that once you kind of get out of the habit of doing something, you kind of lose that thing, So I didn't want to do that.
Exactly.
One of my other favorite shows had to be the Pierre, Bjorn, and John show at the old Masquerade. I wasn't aware how popular they were. I mean, I knew they had the song, the whistling song,
Yeah.
And they were super nice. They were the nicest people ever. We walked out on stage and there were 1,000 people there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we were kind of all shut up at the front of the stage, like we could. They didn't tear down their gear. Like my drummer's drum set was to the left of me, like I was standing on him, kind of, and we were playing for only people who were looking up at us silent, like just looking, watching.
Yeah.
Us. Wow, this is incredible. I definitely did this rest of our life.
Yeah. That's fun. That's really cool. I like
absolutely.
it. So how did you guys handle like the pandemic? Like how were you just writing a lot during that time, or like?
I actually let myself do other things.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, like I said, I didn't know if it was coming back, so I kind of let myself get back into, like, I'm a big car person. A lot of people don't know I was a technician at a racing shop in my early 20s. I went to the Ford Asset Program, and I used to build race cars, and it got to a point where I was like, well, I can either race cars or I can be a musician. So which one do you really want to do? And I want to play music, that's my thing. Also. So anyway, I let myself kind of get back into the car thing a little bit. Just in case it didn't come back, I had to have something to do,
Right.
So I kind of got the cars. I bought a project car, which is sitting in jack stands in my garage. And I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it or not, because now that music's full swing, I don't see the funds available for doing that. So I might end up selling it. But yeah, so I kind of let myself just get back into some other hobbies and things that just relax. Yeah. All I think about is Nobody's Darlings, 24 hours a day.
Right.
So, and I work in the house some, and, do normal people stuff or visit that life for a minute. And I always joke to people, it's like, man, I need a vacation from my vacation life, because I make 100% of my living in music. And, I'm always out, going out, always people live to go out on the weekend. I do every day.
Yeah. No, I totally get that.
Yeah, but for the pandemic, that's concerned, we did a couple of Zoom shows, or not Zoom shows, but a couple of online shows. At Shawn McPherson Studio at East Atlanta Recording, where we're recording our EP right now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and he had a whole setup, let bands come in and record, and not record, but do a live stream and whatnot. And I did a few Facebook Lives, but that was the only live stream I did. I'm not gonna lie, I know it's an outlet. I know people who, they're completely make a living doing that as well.
Right.
I just felt like I was begging for money, and I just didn't want. I didn't want my music to be that.
Yeah.
I want people to come to a concert or a show or buy the music, and that's just my viewpoint on it. It doesn't mean it's right, but that's just how we felt about it. And it's like,
yeah,
we're live at a rehearsal, and we're still here. Don't forget about us. But I don't have I do now, actually. I use the pandemic to buy it, but I didn't have good equipment. Some people already had it set up, where they had the reverb and the delay, and everything was pretty sounding, and I had my cell phone.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to pay for a cell phone recording. It sounds terrible. But
yeah.
And I definitely saw a new genre emerge from it. The YouTube musician.
Oh yeah.
And I actually, also a sound engineer, I see it coming into play in bands. Like, people don't play together like they used to. Like, everybody kind of are really technical all over the place, because you have these Davey 504, he's super technical and stuff, all these challenges people, and people are starting to just learn to play like that all the time.
Right.
So I've noticed is a lot of younger people are coming with bands, and they're all kind of all over the place all the time. Like, it's not bad. It's just a different perspective,
right,
than I used to sing, and it's kind of cool,
Yeah. That's interesting. I haven't really thought about it like that, but yeah, it's like it'll be interesting to see kind of like how sounds evolve, from that sort of more collaborative kind of not always being in the same place kind of process.
No, exactly. And people are rehearsing less, and or they're doing it online, or
right,
and they're just showing up to gigs and just playing with each other. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah. So what's the best advice that you've been given as a musician?
Don't do it. I'm kidding. I saw No Doubt being interviewed, and that was their advice to people: don't do it. Like, screw you, but the best advice is hard. I don't know that I got best advice. I got some good advice and some bad advice, obviously. And, when I first started, I was a nerdy kid, and I was like, you got to be a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people have seen the result of that. they becoming rock star and behavior attitude. But here's the thing is advice only lasts for a little while. Like, I can give you advice right now on what to do. But hindsight is that advice has an expiration date because you have to change.
Right.
Like, well, this person told me I had to be like this, I had to do this and this. Well, it's been 10 years and that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to constantly, so the best advice I can even give is to listen to people and constantly change. Don't be afraid to change how you do things and mix it up.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that. I'm terrible at it. Matter of fact, I'm hiring a social media manager the next month or so, and I can't keep up with it. I can't keep up the change. I don't have time. I work 3 jobs to pay for the band and get our things done and all this stuff, and then I have to write music and play it, and I don't have time to do the.
No, the social media is not like not everybody's deal, and it is. It's like any kind of artist now. Like you feel like you have to be on, the platforms, like talking about your books or your music or what, I don't
even understand how any of that works. Like not even the first flipping thing. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But all I know is I see bands I played with 4 years ago in front of 3 people on the road. All of a sudden they're huge. Mm-hmm. And all I can tell is they knew what they were doing, social media stuff. Like they make cute videos or funny videos and stuff. Then someone, I like that. I believe in you. Then they believe in you. Then you get signed to a booking agent. Then you jump on these tours. And I'm tired of messing around, so I had to add a 30 bucks so I can pay for this guy. Yeah. So that's my plan to take over the world.
I like it. Yeah. So what are you working on right now? You said you guys were recording an EP?
Yeah, we're recording an EP. We've been recording it for 2 years. It was a disaster. With that first person we were recording with, and I will not go into any more detail than that, but we started over 4 weeks ago, and we got the same amount of work done in 4 days as the last person took 2 years to do. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I go back in the weekend after Thanksgiving to do all my vocals, and then all we have left are keys, which he has to record remotely and email them in, so he's doing it right now actually. And then background vocals, and then mixing on this record is going to take a while. It's not like it's like 25 tracks, just like 50 something tracks on each song, and just like my first. Shawn, when Shawn recorded us back in the day, he did a great EP for us. But this is big time. I'm impressed with it. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is like 45, 50 tracks in a song, and it's gonna be pretty impressive. So it's gonna take a while to mix and then master, and then we'll be ready to release it.
Yeah. Do you guys have like a release goal date?
Seth, our social media guy, wants to do Christmas Eve, but Bruce Bukovich is recording our record, and he's like, no way in earth it's going to be done by then.
What, this Christmas Eve?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's a little, little soon.
Well, the guy doing social media, he's awesome. He's ambitious and hungry, and that is exactly what I want. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Once we get done here, and I go to my friend's giving, I'm going to. I guess send me an email about what the timeline stuff is, so we can readjust everything. But it's gonna be. I have full faith in him. He's doing amazing, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah.
So what music or TV shows or movies, etc., are you really into right now?
Let's see. It's funny. I'm almost done with the entire run of Supernatural and for TV show. And I was born on Halloween, so I kind of like that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny because I had to watch it like 3 times because I hated the first season. Like, come on, I couldn't make it through the first season, and I finally slept through the last 4 episodes while on Netflix, and I got in the second season. Like, oh, okay, this is awesome. you know.
Yeah.
So I'm on like season 12, like the end of the season right now. So I watch 2 or 3 episodes a day. But right in a second, I'm into that. I'm super excited. Locke and Key is back, but it's been so long. So long between seasons. I watched the first episode. I'm like, what in the hell is going on?
Yeah, I had the exact same reaction because I watched the first season and then I was like, I don't remember anything that happened.
So everybody's saying it's like I don't understand. It's not really leaving off where it's or beginning where it left off. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this. It's weird,
Yeah.
Locke and Key right now, TV show. What else was I watching? Oh, What We Do in the Shadows. We started watching that. That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, that one is funny.
Yeah, I got through the first couple episodes, and I haven't watched another one yet, but soon.
Yeah, it's really funny. I haven't watched that much either, but what I have watched, it's been hilarious.
Yeah, for me, it's like I get home from playing or running sound. I need to watch something to take my mind off what I was just doing.
So, yeah.
I watch an episode or something or two, and I'll crash. But that's when I get my TV in.
Yeah.
As far as music goes, man, I'm really into. I always love my '90s stuff, of course, but Silver Sun Pickups is my favorite band right now.
Yeah.
And I just now got into Biffy Clyro, which is I know they're forever ago, and they're still playing, obviously, and making records. I'm just not getting into them because they're Scottish, and my family is from Scotland, so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But who was that again?
Biffy Clyro.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check them out.
Yeah,
okay. So I have kind of like a big question that I asked everyone on the podcast. So why do you think art is important?
I think art is important because it is an outlet where it separates us from being a machine, from our daily tasks in life and ones and zeros. Get up, do the work, eat, go to sleep. Art is our interests, our hobbies, our love.
Yeah.
It's something that is what makes us an individual, I think, and it's important because if not, we would just be ants marching in a line.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. That's cool. So where can people find you and your work?
That's funny you say that because when we hired our social media manager or talked to him in our meeting, rather, he gave us a list of things that he was going to do, and I realized I have done nothing. Like, how on earth did I get so far? Doing nothing. Nothing. I've had nothing I'm supposed to do. Right now we're rolling on Reverbnation, but first of the year when this record's done, everything I have will be on Spotify, even our old EPs, and everything will be on Spotify. So February, look out for that.
Okay, cool.
Everything, and it'll be on all the other stuff too. But I've literally lived the last 12 years or whatever, just selling CDs, and And our old stuff's on Reverbnation. You can look that up, but yeah, that I've done nothing right. So
I'll link to your Reverbnation and what are you're on like Facebook and Twitter. Are you guys on Twitter?
No.
Instagram? No.
I was gonna point in it, but I guess we have to be. I don't know. I mean,
well, I don't know about Twitter anymore, but like. Definitely Instagram, I would say.
Oh yeah, we're on Instagram. It is nobody's.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'll link to all of your stuff on findcreativeexpression.com so people can go there and check it out as well.
Excellent.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, Shawn. That was great.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I had such a great time talking to Shawn, and I hope you found it enjoyable as well. Coming up on episode 31, I'm going to be chatting with artist and illustrator Charisma Dozier. I have recently just been exposed to her work, and it really is unique and thought-provoking. So I'm really excited to talk to her. Definitely tune in for that. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to the Find Creative Expression podcast. Please leave the podcast a review on your favorite podcast platform so that other people can find us as well. Thanks so much for supporting the podcast, supporting indie artists, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for the next episode.